even think about.
But at the same time, we have Japan and Latin America, two underdog regions, ranked 7 and 8 by many experts around the world. Are they going to prove everyone wrong?
It's quite a way back in for Title to come back and put themselves at the top of the table. Settle yourselves in. This, like every other game today, is going to be an absolute blinder.
I want to start out here with pointing out the carousel items. Dan, the carousel items were tiers, gloves, and one chain. I'm looking at so many players who want to open up sword or belt or bow, and only a handful of players that are willing to accept tier.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be a deviation of game plans. And the game plan for some of these players is very clear. Go big or go home. For a lot of players, second isn't what they're aiming for. So yes, they'll put it all on the line. However, the problem with the dynamic of 5 players in check is that if you go for first stage strategy and flame out very quickly, let's say you just send it, and then you're like, well, if I don't hit, I go 8th. You're making it easy for the other 4 players to also claim that first place. And then how does that dynamic work for players on the outside looking in? You're talking about Lifespat from Argentina. You're talking about Rainplosion from USA and Donggul from Korea. It's going to be a very interesting dynamic as we see our first augment in a couple minutes here.
It just feels like we're having so many unprecedented marks. Hwanmei, ability to become a 2-time world champion pretty early into Teamfight Tactics competitive history as well. LATAM being able to take home the first win. 2 players from Argentina are here. They're able to take home the first one. Japan taking home the first one. There's so many of these marks we just haven't touched yet. And again, it's because TFT is so young.
It doesn't feel that way, though. Our players, they're playing at such a ridiculously high level. You're right. History is being made here, no matter the outcome.
I mean, you just look at, here we go. He's kind of folding his hands, taking deep breaths, just trying to stay calm. But it's hard to be calm as we have our first augment. One thing, we haven't had a prismatic.
No, why'd you say it? Okay. I was about to panic.
All right, Silver. So start off a little bit on the light side.
Starting slow. Okay.
But there are some powerful options. You look at things like, for example, Double Trouble 1. That could be something that we think about.
Consistency taken there from title spot.
I see a Mystic Heart up there for Donggul.
Yeah, that can be a big one as well. Especially with a bunch of tiers showing up early. Ooh.
It'll be pretty interesting, right? Like, exactly. You talked about opening items, and how is that going to play into people's strategy? So it's an awkward opening item that's low power augments. It really comes down to fundamental board building. There's no, like, get out of jail free card, like, hey, I have Knife's Edge 2. I'm going to bold over your 1-star composition. Everyone has to fight way more fairly.
The one thing that I've noticed mostly about the low power starts is that it's a lot of very high power finishes. If you're not able to pressure players to the 9s, what ends up happening is they get to go to 9 instead. So they get to build up these strong economies, and then have these stable spots on 7, just naturally have the gold and the health to do it.
Look at, speaking of strong economies, Donggul made 20, and also going against Title. If Title wins this fight, which looks like he is going to do, already an awkward start for Title because he was trying to lose streak with consistency, and he doesn't get that in the very first fight.
So we've got consistency. Also, one which I wanted to bring up for you guys, we have seen it creeping through a little bit as well. Pandora's Bench is also in the mix.
That's a big first place base strategy, high variance, big ceiling. If you can get those 3 stars, we've seen some explosive late game potential. Keep an eye out for whoever has that.
We have got a couple of players go for the Astrals. As we said, we've got the consistency here for Title, so if they don't win from here on out, they can't get it in. Well, that's just an easy peasy throw in a Malphite. Why not?
He just leveled with consistency, so now Title's going the other way. He's saying, okay, well, I can't put a 5 loss together. Let me try for a 5 win. This is a strategy that has a lot of potential to either work out or backfire.
Yeah, there's high risks involved with this, but that's the type of lobby that we are just in right now. If you're chasing down a first and the rest of it doesn't matter at all, I mean, it's literally first or 8th.
Oh man, and Shunga has the Kaisa with the Jewel Gauntlet. It is one of his comfort compositions. I think he is one of the best at playing it. That is a spot that he wants if he is going to be the champion.
I love the Axiom Mark alongside it. Every kill will help Kaiser recharge, get another cast through, potentially reset again, and stack up these goon at double speed.
Oh no, if he loses this fight, it is disaster for Title. And it comes down to overtime, which gives you a big amount of AP boost or walking to the back line.
Malphite's still alive.
Can we get the win? Oh! No! Giga Vlad comes up big.
All right, so that's going to be extra gold in Title's pockets. It may have been a little bit closer than they would have liked for, but still, what they've got right now, admirable. Looking at this board, do we plow the gold into trying to keep this win streak going?
I don't think I've ever felt this pressured over just like the early rounds of this, but it is such a big deal when consistency's at stake.
It is true, and he could level to 5. He does have Sejuani and the Twitches to play, and that is a stronger board than his Astral. Now Title is somewhat committed to going for it. He's going to level to 5.
Last second.
Shot.
Commits to the Twitch. He doesn't want to replace 2-star units, so he's staying a fundamental TFT, and he caught a lot of players off guard, but not Lifespan, who was also waiting level 5.
Wow. Has
Ionic Spark, which is one of the best items he can start off on a 2-star unit.
This is win streak versus a win streak, so let's see what we can get here heading onto our first carousel. A lot of money for Title, of course, doubling down with that consistency on making sure that early game path stays on the straight and narrow. The Astrals are starting to get taken down. Fiddly is low. Ezreal's building up. The Swift Shot's the last one left standing. Kaiser, I don't think he's going to get the cast in time, and Title wins out big.
It's massive win here for Title.
It's rare that you find an early game thing at this high at stake right now. I'm glad we get to like maybe take a little bit of a step back here, because I'm like, if we have to stay hyped like this for 43 minutes, we're not gonna have a voice left at the end.
But this could be the last game. Look, he's win streaking with consistency when it's all on the line.
I mean, that's like the biggest risk to the other players too, because it's not like you're sacrificing some golden or prismatic augment to get to this kind of power level. We've talked about it time and time again. Hitting a 5-win streak growing into Krugs is one of the scariest things that can happen for the other players in the lobby, especially when that's stacked with consistency. You're going to be embarrassed so bad with how rich you are.
Well, with Title, of course, building up towards that big lead, we've seen, again, address. We've got, two sets of players in this lobby. We've got the ones who can win this game, who have to get first, and we've got the ones who are trying to make sure that doesn't happen by getting the win themselves. Donga, Rainplosion, Lifespan, if any of them win, we will go on to Game 6.
And I'm looking at also, coming off that carousel, how many players were holding their items as well. When you're holding these items going into that kind of spot, you are looking for ideal spikes to come from your items as well. You're not looking for the top 4. Again, I'm going to emphasize it time and again. You want a first. If it's not a first, it basically isn't there right now.
Title and Huawei are remaining undefeated, getting close to Krugs. Lifespan will be trying to take that win streak off of Huawei, who's put in early exiles. A little bit of extra shield to get them going. Does seem like we're seeing a fair amount of Swift Shots in the early going. But this fight, I think, isn't going to quite go Huawei's way. It's pretty tight for the front line once it's down. We've actually got a surprising amount of tanks left alive as well to force this through as a big win for Lifespan.
Yeah, the Ionic Spark plus the Jewel Gauntlet combination and the Dragon Man, just a little bit too much AP, and Huanmei took a 5-unit loss, so
look, he didn't lose, though.
To go from 100 to 90.
Oh, boy.
Title is still winning in that consistency, resulting up to 30 gold now.
Oh.
They're caught in a position. How much they spend, how long can they keep this going?
So does he level to 6 here to maintain it? It might be worth it, but if he's scouting Huanmei, scouting Rain, and here we go, if he thinks he can win without it, he's going to level to 6, and I agree with it. He's just trying to increase the strength. That's what he rolls!
Rolls!
In comes the extra body. Comes in one more fight. This is on the way to Krugs as well. The win streak, the Krug goal, both on the line.
He just made a last-second swap for a Pantheon 1. Here he goes, full open.
Wow!
And a decision that he took to try and be aggressive ends up dealing more damage to Here We Go, but did lose a ton of economy for it.
Now, that being said, you have the consistency in place, so you are going to make that back. We saw last game a player go to 6 as well, and it damaged their economy, but ultimately it wasn't that bad at the end of the day, and that wasn't highlighted by consistency as your augment.
Yeah, yes and no. The trade-off is that he does guarantee it, and he's dealing more damage. The offset is if he's ever a little bit short of gold to try and get things like that 2-star Dragon, was it because he sacrificed the economy a little bit too early?
That's a good point.
I want to kind of get a prediction from you guys here. How long do we see this win streak going? Is there a point where you just can't pump gold in to keep it consistently going, if you pardon the pun?
I think it's good for now. 2-star Ezreal was really big, so I think it's good for now. He should be able to win 3-1. His board has very solid amount of frontline and backline. The 3-2 augment is where we can see a big jump. Don't forget, again, the big spikes. We haven't seen a prismatic augment yet today. What a time it would be to come in right now.
Seeing a pair of Shimmer Scales sitting on the bench as well. We haven't gotten a glimpse of what that item is just yet. Sitting at level 6, it's looking like it could come through. But we're going to be looking at this first. Oh, look at they're taking their time as well. Like, do I want to sell things and clear out my bench for more options in a spot like that? Another Rod coming through. So Jeweled Gauntlet plus Ionic Spark is a pretty nice combination to have there. But again, the gold is really where my focus is. How do you build this out best?
Wow, so 2 rounds in a row, Title has chosen not to sell his bench to make gold, and this is the nod to consistency. He wants the strongest board possible. He's been looking for ways to upgrade his board. He has that Gnar 2 to complement that Nidalee for Shapeshifters. A really important spot, but it's not the Title show. I know we're really excited about it, but it's just so rare to see a win streak consistency player.
Yeah, especially go to level 6, especially keep a giant bench and play. It's just bizarre.
Don't worry, folks. We will keep a close eye on what Title is doing and whether or not they will get a win streak. But yes, we do have to address some of the elephants in the room.
Oh, my
boy.
Goodness.
Okay.
Now, it is Mogul's Mail as the starting one, so it's not like this game warping augment that's going to be taking place. It's just a strong supplement to your team at this point. So it is something that I am enjoying seeing right now.
Well, I mean, I suppose we saw before the Determined Investor gets you that Diamond Hands, makes your Idis much stronger. At least this time around, you don't have to wait for that Determined Investor to pop. The Mail is going to make that Idis stronger immediately.
Yep, that's right. And Xunge is okay. Win-loss, win-loss. He's making his gold through that Shimmer scale. He wants to kill as many units as possible. For Fritz, Fritz is at 68, wants to minimize the amount of losses. Yes, he's joined by a couple of players, but his item grab back start with Banshees doesn't lend itself naturally to a lot of power, so he wants to maximize it. This Kai'Sa 2 gets it done for Xunge, so Fritz continues that loss. Let's see the 3-2 augment.
Oh! We have been good this year!
Mortdog's pulling the lever. I don't know where he is. Somebody check where Mortdog is.
I'm looking for Dragon Soul. I'm looking for big, high-impact stuff. Shimmer Scale Soul also picked up. Prismatic Scope weapons.
Age of Dragon Scope weapons, Lucky Gloves, re-rolls
Dragon
for the Dragon Soul!
Yes!
Dragon Soul for Title!
Title's still on the consistency streak as well. Maybe it is the Title show!
Remember back to, of course, our day 1 and 2, Dragon 6 were absolutely everywhere and crushing everything!
Can you believe it? Title is currently the front runner to put Japan on the map for TFT immortality.
Wow, I mean, this is just unreal how strong this is looking right now. Fritz got an item grab bag at 1, Earth's grab bag at 2. We saw Here We Go with Double Trouble. They picked up a Woodlands Charm to go with that. Don't Go ahead a Mystic Heart. They picked up an Earth's grab bag 2 as well. Reimplosion, Pandora's Bench, Celestial Blessing 3 for the natural healing. There's so much strong stuff going across the board right now. Some of these players it's a longer term, but for some of these players, it's a right here, right now.
Well, mate, not going to do, I think, too much to threaten the push through. The front line is still very strong indeed. That Malphite loaded up. Bear in mind, of course, the way the Title started today, a 5th, then an 8th, then 2 firsts in a row to bring them here.
Oh my god, he wins again! And what, I think you get 15 gold just for this round? So he is swimming in the cash, and he's doing this with Shimmer Scale as well, so add that to the total. This is an outrageous position for Title, but other people are starting to power up, and the moment Title loses that streak is where we'll have to see how he adapts and picks up that streak again.
And of course, Title doesn't quite have enough gold to be able to push up for another level at this point. This will be the round where we'll be looking to see if anyone can knock Title off his perch.
I mean, they went to 7 is why they don't have enough gold, though. I mean, 7 on 3-2? That's so hard to do and have 50 gold left over.
Xunge has Kai'Sa 2 as well, so this board is no slouch. Oh, an opportunity, perhaps, to throw a wrench in the Title's plans.
All right, we have got the gold monster staff, and we know what that means. A whole heap of AP, a whole heap of power. Kai'Sa doesn't have the casting items. She will take her time, but the front line is rock solid. We got the 3 item minus. We're going to tick through with a Nidalee big gem. That's so much damage. Title holding on by a thread. The backlines are not comparable. The Ezra with a single item doing their darndest.
Wow.
Kai'Sa's going to get the next cast in.
Wow.
The front lines are gone. One more cast. Title held on as best they could, but it was not to be anymore.
Xunge saved the lobby. It is now possible for other players to have a chance. If it wasn't for Xunge there, I think that was a runaway.
You're entirely right, Nathan. That could have been disastrous for everybody else, but Xunge, of course, playing for himself, but playing to keep this tournament alive as he has 7 Shimmer Scale. And we've seen Shimmer Scale be able to do a ton of work. Now, this actually answers a new question. Is Xunge actually going to even commit to Kai'Sa, or is he just going to stay on this really powerful line and level up and try to play for Dragons that way?
Well, 7 Shimmer Scale was, we saw Determined Investor, I think it was. I'm like 99% sure it's Determined Investor. There we go. So that being also that, you're having a natural damage scale with a needlessly large gem. You have the strong, what I would consider the strongest early Shimmer Scale item, at least, with the Goldmancer Staff, and you have Determined Investor, you now got a pair of items. I'm really getting some heavy 7 Shimmer Scale somehow vibes.
I mean, that's possible, and you also can even just go vertical Shimmer Scale. We've seen people just play the classic way from Dragonlands, the base set, saying, hey, I can go for like a 3-star Zoe or like a 3-star whatever to win this lobby in the old-fashioned way. So he has many options on the table, and that level of 7 indicates immediately he's not going for that reroll.
We haven't spent a lot of time talking about Rainplosion, though, who is going for the Kaiser setup. We've got that Pandora's Bench we mentioned before, a potential source of immense late-game power, but also access to some extra rerolls as well. We'll be trying our luck up against this incredibly powerful opposite Kaiser, who just seems unhandleable. He's down to 39. The front line is going down a little low, actually. Maybe I'll eat my words. Kaiser versus Kaiser, but the front line decides it all. Rain will get knocked down further into the top 50s.
Interesting enough, Rain is also at 7, so if she is going for Kaiser 3, her odds just for the straight shop are lower, but she does have that Pandora's Bench, as you mentioned. So that's a very interesting dynamic. We see a Deja in the shop, and Shunka has some choices to make.
Well, so there's
okay,
one,
not that hard of a choice.
There's one thing I wanted to point out about Rainplosion's board, sitting with the blue buff and the Jeweled Gauntlet and with the Pandora's Bench. If no one is touching Sohm, that is a realistic possibility for some big finishes here. But Rainplosion's not in check yet. It's not Rainplosion's not in check. So going for a first place finish here would be to deny the other players from claiming a victory. So I do think that she has a heavy incentive to go a direction that is in that same territory.
I can see that. So angling for Sohm and Lagoon in a spot where not many people are predicting it. And what a way that would be to snatch it from Tidal, the Lagoon expert in the lobby.
Oh yeah, I mean it would be poetry in motion. Donkey as well, another player just like Rain, who's trying to make sure we go through to Game 6. Currently running the Graves Seraphine setup. A decent selection. We noticed, of course, they picked up the Mystic early on, and they've gone for the Prismatic grab bag. Wow. A solid board, solid enough to hand a heavy loss to Rain.
Dongur sitting with a strong opening here for the Seraphine Graves. You have the Edge Knight already. The problem is you're sitting at a low health total, so when you find the bad matchup, you're going to be taking some heavy hits in a spot where, you know, this is not the life total you want for this.
Checking out some of the other boards right now. You see, Here We Go is going for Dark Flight. Oh my goodness, he has Woodland Charm and Double Trouble. It's another way that you can get 2 of the same unit. This actually unlocks the very rare scenario where maybe you want to think about Swain. I'm not sure if that's true that you still want to, but it's possible.
No, I remember you, of course, talking about this previously. Normally Swain's taking up those slots you want to put in the double units, but this is a unique opportunity, and we've talked again and again. These are the best players in the world right now. If there's ever an angle we've never seen, this is the place for it.
Maybe not for now. We're still on 6, and I think with this Aphelios drop, we'll see if he's able to find it. Or another Rel.
There is.
Oh, Swain has shown up.
He doesn't have items for Swain. That's the only problematic thing. So the Double Trouble isn't nearly as good because he doesn't have items on that carry. But let's see if he can make something happen.
All right, we'll see if it goes in this round, if it will be waiting a little bit long. Because he said, not the most health on the Swain right now. There will, of course, be getting the sacrifice health. Right now, it's relying mostly on these 2 Rengars to get the job done with a solid, otherwise, front line up against the sea. Of course, it's going to be more Kaisers all the time.
Well, the binary airdrop here is just massive.
Hexa Gunblade.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Pretty strong indeed, and Life's back. Does get jumped, though, and this problem with the Kaiser is that no one's protecting her. So he does lose the primary source of damage, and enough Darkflight units survive that it should be a win unless this Zac wants to clutch it out. In fact, this Nasus isn't dying quick either.
Wait a second.
I take it all back. No combat augments for Life's Bad and somehow able to get it done.
All right, guys, let's take the flavor of the whole lobby, though, because we've also got other players to consider. Life's Bad, currently up at the top, another one of those 3 players who needs this lobby not to end the entire tournament. As we go from silver to prismatic to silver, we're on a roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah. The canyon between life totals, too, is 17 in 8th place right now. We're on 4-2, and someone's at 17 health, and it goes all the way up to about 80 afterwards. So it is really tough. I'm sorry, 86, excuse me. It is really tough for Dongur to come back here and find a big finish. For Life's Bad, you're still looking for that big finish here as well. The reroll on the silvers, this is the one downside of hanging on to them in these prismatic style lobbies is that you're going to fall into these spots sometimes. It's not that I disagree with taking the binary, but rerolling a silver, not the greatest feeling.
And just a small point, of course. If Dongo does go out here, that's one more player who couldn't win this game, removed from the competition. If we lose all of them, of course, we're guaranteed to end the finals in this game.
That is true. Lifespat is the only player that's currently in position to do so. Going up against Fritz, who has Deja too, seemingly out of nowhere with 2 reasonable items to get the Executioner procs going and deal some big damage.
That's because of all the gold they had as well from the early start. It's just like everything comes down to this point. You traded all of your life basically to get to this much gold. You hit that Deja 2 first. Everything's looking like it could be okay, but do you really have the support for this right now? It's looking like the binary airdrop plus the Kaisa is enough to pull this through.
Oh my goodness.
Woof. Wow.
Lifespan continues the streak.
Such a bad hit for Fritz.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my goodness, Zach.
All right, we're off to the party here. Life's bad. Currently on 14 points, the lowest amount of points in the lobby. Again, heavily motivated to take the first place.
Oh my
gosh. Themselves into check.
How far do you go? Do you wait?
Yes, you wait.
Okay.
You're at 86 HP, and there's no need to pull the trigger. And remember, you're rolling for more than the Kaisa, but we did hit Zach 3 already, and we're pretty far from Jack, so it might be one of those situations where we just settle with those 2.
I'm looking at Juan Mie, who's got a Warrior Heart as well to go with the prismatic scoped weapon, so I think a pretty well shaped out angle there. But going up against Tidal with the Dragon Soul, who's got 50 gold on, at least 50 gold on level 8. I mean, this is clear where they're going, and this is not good for
Guys,
the lobby.
Talk to me about Dragon 6. We know it's on the horizon here. What does it mean for the rest of the lobby that comp is almost inevitably coming?
I mean, Dragon 6 is like, that is the Exodia comp. There's just there's no way you could make your board more powerful than getting a stacked 6 dragons in play. It is set up here for Tidal. Tidal is going to be taking some big hits, but again, they have the gold to support this. If they get that online, there's legitimately like almost no way to defeat it.
That's right, and the consistency is going the other way for Tidal. He started off win streaking, now he's starting off lose, or continuing to lose streak, and that's an interesting flip of the script. Speaking of, you're looking at this carousel. Can anybody make use of this bar? This might be the longest I've seen bar to go with quite some time.
Here we go, it's going to grab it. And again, it's worth taking stock of where we are health-wise. Dongo, of course, staying at 17 for a while. Fritz going to join them down there at 20 with Rain just above. We've got kind of a midfield Kwame, and here we go, who are more or less okay at 40, and everybody else is riding high with a very big amount of HP.
So Dongo, I believe, is at 17. Rainplosion has 16 points. Life's bad at the bottom. If Life wins this lobby, Dongo goes 8th, Rain goes 7th. You know what that means? That means next game, literally everybody's at check.
It's going to be absolutely
Oh my gosh,
wild.
Yone 3 though.
All right.
has entered the chat.
Wow. I mean, this is terrifying, I think, for some of the players here. They stuck in the additional Braum to say, you know what, the Guardians are enough. I don't need the rest of this nonsense that I have in play. And that is a major difference in that one. Like, having that show up right away, that's a big deal. Rainplosion did go for Sohm at the end of this one, but this is a tough board to be fighting right now.
That's right. Does have to try to take down the Kaisa as soon as she can, but has to work on the front line first, and all of her front line is cracking. That Zach is not going down anytime soon, and Rainplosion can't really afford to take that many more hits. This is going to be a hefty loss once more.
Yikes.
Oh dear, Rainplosion from the USA takes another big hit. But you look at her bench, she has things like this Graves 2, I believe, on the bench. She's trying to transform it. And Dongo, if Dongo goes 8th, then at least Rainplosion will be in check guaranteed, and their entire tournament is dependent on Life's Bad.
Sugar up near the top is on a win streak as well as we check in with Here We Go. Notice, of course, the Woodland should be duplicating ourselves. Well, we can already see on the board that second Swain is there. A most unusual board. What are our considerations here for Here We Go and for the other players?
Well, for Here We Go, we want to stack Swain with a lot of items. In this case, he already has double trouble, so there's a little bit more resistances, but still, he doesn't have things like the Morello, and that Morello is really key to fight all the healing that's currently in the game.
It's also just the gold count. Feels like it's really missing here. Still 1-star Rengars that are sitting in play. It's still a 1-star Swain. You have 6 gold left. You need a lot of things to go right here. This is definitely the kind of board you want to be facing if you're in this spot right now.
Well, Swain may not be on full capacity as of yet, but the Rengars are doing a number on the backline. The Diamond Hands, of course, won't help you out when your backline is the ones getting targeted.
Hold on, Tidal is at level 9 already.
Oh, jeez.
Missed that. and already still at 50 gold. And so Title is basically there. He's one more step of getting the 6 dragons, and then the final way to confirm his win would be to 2-star all of them. If he 2-stars those 6 dragons, he is going to be our champion.
Yeah, you know, the common strategy, Dan, slow roll 6 dragons.
With a duplicator that he just got.
Oh, sold everything.
Here we go.
What?
Oh, no.
All right.
That's Dragon
All
5,
eyes on
and that's the
Title.
6th dragon. Now the hard part, making sure that this board can still win. Yes, it's 6 dragon, but he needs to 2-star something. Multiple things, preferably.
There's a Terror. So it's 2 Terrors coming in. We've got a Bard. Trying to strip out as much as possible. Running out of gold.
Uh-oh.
I think this is a lot.
Okay, Terror 2's big.
Big deal. Big, big deal.
But no 2-star carry. And if he's going up against potential people, like here we go, who has Rengar. Rengar can assassinate it very quickly.
Well, hang on. You do have a Checkmate duplicator on your bench. You could, in theory, go for a 2-star Deja here. Is that enough? Deja Mirage is on Executioner right now, but you're not fitting in a 4th Mirage in this spot.
It's a tough question, and that's the one that Title has to answer for himself.
It's a very tough question. You know what? What about just 2 damage dragons? Why not?
Why not? Yeah. Bring a dragon, bring a friend as well. Let's see how Title's first shot at running 6 dragons goes up against the next opponent, Huami, of course, who has got this warrior setup. That Yone in the corner is an absolute monster, but is it a monster as big as 6 dragons?
Well, the Braum is the key. If the Braum can tank for a long time, then the Yone will ramp up to infinity attack speed 5.0. But it doesn't look like the front line for Title's able to hold, and now the scope weapon's gonna work on the back line. Title's at 17 HP, he's at 2 lives. He has 2 more chances to make this work.
Oh, Dongu gets knocked out?
No. So Dongu out, that means Rainplosion and Lifespan, the only ones protecting
Fritz
us.
gets knocked out.
Fritz gone as well. Was on 19 points, will not be able to win out in this game. So keep your eyes closely on Rainplosion in particular. On 16 HP, we see a lot of Somes, we see a lot of Pandora's bench action, just as you said, Dan.
Yeah, she's trying to chase that Somme 3. That is another possible way that she can win this. Not to mention other people are going for dragons and pulling it out. Nobody wants Somme except for her. So things theoretically are lining up good for Rainplosion, but she's still on Nila 1. And she doesn't necessarily have the strongest way to stall because she only has 1 Zizzarat. This is going to be really tough for Rainplosion. Hopefully that Soraka plus her burst can have enough time for her to stall.
It will be up against Lifespan, who, of course, has got this incredibly scary Kaiser. The extra item will not be ideal for a maximum damage, so Rain has got a chance there. The front line is getting eviscerated, though. The shots come through. Nyla gets the kill onto Kaiser. I think Rain has done it, holding on for one more round to get the rerolls from the Pandora's bench.
That is such a big deal right now. You could, in theory, find the Somme 3 next round, but it is going to be really tough. Rainplosion can really not afford to take a heavy hit. If you're going to take a hit, it has to be the smallest one there so that you maybe have that 1 extra life.
And she just got a Morellonomicon number 2. So that's not what she was looking for off of the Lagoon rewards. We do see Title 2-starring another dragon. Every single dragon that Title can 2-star gets him that much closer. And with that win at 17 HP has looked like he's relatively stable.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be absolutely massive again. We're seeing so many Dragon players now playing on the very edge of Annihilation. Xunga up at the top. Lifespan, of course, taking the L, falls down a little bit, but we still got a very strong board, and we can see Dragons are slightly contested.
Yeah, Xunga went into level 9 here with 80 gold and began the roll, so this is a heavy transition they're going through right now, so it's nice to see them not in a ridiculously bad spot. You very often get caught in some really tough spots as you begin this, but this is a nice, clean level to 9 and a swap of items.
Pure carry Swain, by the way, 2 Archangel staffs, so trying to put enough damage. The Rengar's jumping the Aurelion Soul. Who's going to be able to come out on top? Is it the Scaling Dragon that's 2-star from the Dark Flight? It is. Xunga takes some pretty big damage. Rainplosion takes another loss, and Title is able to survive yet another round. I'm not entirely sure who's going to win this lobby.
It's going to be real close. This is what we're here for in Game 5. Give us more dragons!
Oh my gosh!
That's another Somme for Rainplosion.
Oh, that could be huge. If that shield
reroll
turns into a Somme, that's a 3-star Somme at that point. And again, the dragons being assigned out here for players means the players who are already on the dragons are getting huge benefits.
Danny, our observer, please show us Rainplosion going in. This could change everything. It's got the Somme. Will the reroll hit? It will not! Rain denied.
Oh,
Still on Neela 2.
Zoe 2 from Xingge. Lifespan up to level 8. Oh, I want to see a round just at everything right. It just feels like everything is so intense and worth so much right now.
It's worth noting again, Hwame, the only person in the lobby who is already a world champion, is on a win streak on the path to threaten the 2-time world title.
That 3-star Yone with prismatic scope weapons can bum rush a lot of these dragon boards, and this is one of the problems. But she does have Neela on the correct side.
Yasuo, or Yone rather, is going to be absolute tank, but he's getting caught up. Nyla is doing her best to take down the main damage threat Hwame has, but turning around, Edge of Night, and the heal is good. It's building up very slowly, but it does not work. Yone gets to go full ham. Rayplosion takes the hit and goes out in 6th.
Hwame keeps up the win streak here at 5. Title still in a fight right now. This is a big one between Title and Here We Go. I'm watching that sidebar right now. We got to swap over to Title takes a big hit to the Swain 2 that is now upgraded here. 2 Archangels plus the Morellos here. Title finds a Shyvana 2.
Shyvana 2! Slowly but surely, I think that's at least 3 dragons, and he still has that duplicator last time I checked.
We're building up towards a big hurrah. Here we go. The last remaining player who is not on check. Look at all those beautiful dragons. Japan's title is building up for the biggest finish possible.
I mean, he's looking at Deja 2 and Aoshin 1, but based on his matchups, can either of these players take it out?
Oh, here we go. Hit Aphelios 3 during that as well. So this is a big matchup that they've gotten here.
Tidal needs to stay alive. The front line getting knocked into the air. And the Edge of Night on the couch on the back line means she's going to be incredibly tough to put down for good. We have got our friend Asol taking a little bit of aggro, but nothing too serious as of yet. The damage is building up. In comes the rain. Yaoshin doing a fantastic job. Edge of Night will save the Kaiser for now. But the Dragons are just a little bit too strong. That's the big hit, and Title stays alive.
Life's bad. Being eliminated means we will crown a champion this game. I count 1, 2, 3 members of China and Title. It is China versus the world.
Wow, that's how I feel right now.
There are no words, Arable. This is the edge of annihilation. This is the best TFT you will see anywhere. These players are ridiculously good.
Taking a look at the item here, Banshee's Claw, not the most impactful, but might end up clutching. But we see some really impactful drops in the Rift Herald. Previously, we saw Title get a Shroud, which almost changed the entire course of his game and tournament. What is happening around the Convergence?
Oh my god.
A Zephyr for Xingge? Hold on a second. Is he rolling for 3 stars?
Wait a second.
No, that's a 2-star Oriental
Look
already
how much
on this
gold
bench.
they have left. Like this again, this is the transition for Xingge right now. Everyone's going for dragons because everyone needs a win.
Yeah, it's all about first or nothing. Xingge, I mean, we've got the gold monster stuff in play. We've got 78 gold. How are they at the top of the score table when everybody else has spent every penny that they have?
I mean, some of the benefit is going to be coming from the gold that's there. You need the Goldmancer staff getting buffed, the needlessly large gem providing stuff to your board. Everything there is based around having that gold. When they spend all that gold, they inherently lose damage.
Well, it's going to be a fight against Here We Go. And if Life's Bad is out, that means LATAM is out. And the World Championship is decided in this game.
All right, let's see. The Kaiser gets shunked down almost immediately. Rengar will pay the price, but look at that Swain. He's building up a big old bird dad, trying to put out as much damage as possible before everyone around him starts dying. He is left more or less on his own.
Oh, Tidal!
No! Wow. He's out of there! He will not be our champion, at least not in this game, in any game.
Life's Bad wins.
Life's Bad won.
Life's Bad is still in it. He beat the Swain.
The Zac with the Sunfire cape carried the fight.
I can't believe it. We still have a chance to upset China. But if Life's Bad's out, that means 3 times in a row China has dominated global competition.
It is literally up to Life's Bad to get this done right now. Hwame hunting down a 2nd world title. Xingge for a title for, like, I mean, Dan, you covered the whole part. How did they win?
Ladies, gentlemen, people around the world, outside of China, raise your hands. Life's Bad needs your support.
All right, here we go again against Here We Go themselves. That Swain, it's the promise of annihilation, but this time, Kaiser's got a few friends to keep away the Kitty Cat Patrol. Here we go, is dropping those Rengars, so it's going to be all on Swain.
I think he's got it.
He's building up. He's got the 4 stacks in, but the Kaiser hit! It is
Wow! And Juanmi and Here We Go get knocked out!
That's right, no repeat for Juanmi, and it comes down between Life's Bad defending against potentially a new Chinese champion.
Sugar is on the win streak as well. Oh my
Yasuo
God.
too!
Wow, this is so big.
He's going for Yasuo 3.
They're going for Yasuo 3!
He's one off!
The champion's duplicator on the bench. They need to find one Yasuo!
If it's Yasuo 3, it is game over!
They're filtering out threes. They're going to say, I'm going to hesitate right here. I can take one hit. I have time to find this right now. I think this is an okay call.
Life's Bad. Does he have the ability to even survive this round?
All right, let's see if we can do it again. Life's Bad holding on with everything they can. The Kaiser surely cannot stand in the way of all this unfiltered Dragon aggression. The knockup right in the center will buy a little bit more time to get the multiple cards in. We have, of course, got the Bait to buy a little bit more space, but it's not looking good. There is the black hole that will swallow your soul. Gunji on the win streak takes the title. They are your Dragon Lord.
China does it again 3 times in a row, making a hat trick. Shunga from China, hyped as the best player from that region, lives up to the potential that he and the fans of China knew he was capable of.
A 2-time DouYu champion qualifying through regionals this way, regarded as a late game expert.